Okay, everybody, guess what? We are here today with the new episode of Comedians Exposed featuring
Brian St. John.
Yay! Host of Shut the Fuck Up show at Nucky's in Jersey City.
Shut the fuck up.
He's already telling me to shut the fuck up. And we just got started, Brian. Oh my gosh, it's so soon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Can you let everyone know? So where are we today?
We are in my apartment in Jersey City. You can't see any of my fine art. Deanna just kicked my table. Sure, that's going to sound great in the microphone. We'll leave that in the comments.
Should we start over?
No, I love this. This is great. We're in my apartment. I just rearranged this area so we could do the podcast here. And then Deanna took about 45 minutes to set up not one, but two ring lights that she bought. Neither work.
I don't understand why not, okay? But I'll figure it out one day. But we don't need a ring light. We have Brian's sparkling personality to illuminate the podcast. Oh! So that's why. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Do you expect me to answer that in an in-depth way?
No, not at all. It's small talk. Actually, I don't really care how you're doing. It's just like, okay, let's get these pleasantries out the way.
I hate pleasantries.
I know, they're awkward, right?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
No,
and I skip the pleasantries.
But that's like how you have to operate in the world. Like, hello, how are you? Nice to see you.
Yeah, in the world, but not in a podcast at 2 p.m.
You don't think so?
No.
I think I should be pleasant.
Yeah, you should be, but I wasn't going to be. Right?
No, Brian's very pleasant. Brian! So we're going to get into your comedy.
Oh, God.
I know.
Speaking of pleasantries, I was at... Tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
I was at a bridal shower engagement party, which is the thing now, because they want an excuse to invite men to bridal showers.
Okay.
To get more money, I assume, right? And I was at one of those the other day, and then the bride's aunt, like right as I was getting ready to leave, I was there for 4 hours, barely know anybody there. The bride's aunt faints in the bathroom, right? So now the whole family's freaking out.
Oh my god!
But I'm sitting there, and I can't pleasantly say goodbye and thank you to everybody because they're all in the bathroom waiting for the EMS to show up. So if you think about it, like, it's really more of an inconvenience for me.
Yeah. It probably was. You're having to stay there.
Because then now my pleasant goodbyes, which I don't want to do anyway, are now mixed with the, is everything okay?
Is everything
I don't want to say goodbye. I don't really
but now
care about the aunt.
Is the aunt okay, though? I do.
I have no idea.
I'm glad that
men take it out on a stretcher.
Well, it was probably really exciting, but co-ed bachelorette or bridal shower? That sounds like a wild time for this aunt, huh?
Yeah. She's either diabetic or drank too much, I'm not sure.
Maybe both. And a little column A and B. I think that's great that they're inviting men to bridal showers. No, because bridal showers are horrible.
Yeah.
They're like, no, baby showers.
It's not a different setup. It's still the bridal shower. It's still the awful bridal showers. Just now there's bored men everywhere.
And you have to watch people open dishes. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, maybe we should be nice. Maybe we should start off in gratitude, okay? Because I feel like this is going to get real weird and dark because it's Mr. Brian St. John. But before, tell everybody where you're on social media.
Instagram, Brian St. John Sucks. And I have Facebook, which I'm the last comic still using Facebook.
I use Facebook.
Do you? I prefer Facebook over everything else.
I like Instagram because it's just pictures.
Well, Instagram is the best one, right?
Yeah.
For social media purposes, but Facebook is where the real freaks are.
People share a lot on Facebook.
People got their last rope overshare on Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's my whole feed, and I love it. I love
that's hard for me because it's like, everybody, it kind of goes through things. So it's really hard when you're seeing someone else going through it, when you're kind of low, and you just kind of want to it's easy to kind of be nasty. I'm
not nasty to people on
Get
Facebook.
It together. You're not nasty only in life?
No, I just watch from afar and make fun of them in group chats.
Oh, in secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's how it's supposed to be done. Yeah. I know, I don't understand. I think it's appropriate. If you're going to talk about people, the problem is who's sharing the information. That's the problem.
Yeah. You remember that girl with that girl that accused me of murder a few years ago?
Oh, tell this story.
That just popped up in my
memories. Oh my gosh, yes.
It was, me and Tyler Langlace had a show the Court Tavern in New Brunswick 4 or 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I just put up a flyer on Facebook as you do to promote it. And 2 weeks later, just a girl I'm not Facebook friends with just found the post and just commented, Brian St. John, you killed my cousin, spelled cousin wrong. May God have mercy on your soul. You should probably rot in jail. And I'm like, all right, that last part might be true, but I think you got the wrong Brian St. John. And then the next comment was, sorry, this is, the girl's name was, say, Sarah.
Yeah.
And then the same profile was, sorry, Sarah's confused. This is Jackie or whoever. We don't know what happened. And I'm like, okay, like, I didn't murder anyone, right? Like, please say that publicly as you've accused me of murder on my Facebook post. And they go, we don't know what happened. And I'm like, and then she goes, but the point is, people with Down syndrome should never be made fun of.
What?
And I'm like, because the original girl has Down syndrome, I didn't know this. But I didn't make fun of her yet. So I'm like, okay, like, agreed, but like, I didn't murder anyone, right? And they just never
responded to that.
They just never admitted that I didn't. She said, let's stop talking. I was like, okay, please, just somebody say I didn't murder your cousin.
Why were they not... Okay, so did someone name Brian St. John?
Yeah, we found out later. Yeah, Ryan St. John in Ohio. His father is Brian St. John, which is like, that's Ohio white trash right there. Your name's Brian and you named your son Ryan. That's weird, right?
Ryan and
give
Brian.
Give him the name or don't, you know?
Yeah.
But so Ryan St. John took his girlfriend's 2-year-old son and smacked him against the wall and killed him, yeah.
Oh my God.
That's not the funny part, yeah. Stop laughing.
Oh my God. No, this is getting so much darker, so much earlier than I thought it would. Oh no. And it is.
I was accused of this. I had to look into it. And so Ryan did that. And then, then we go deeper into it. His father, Brian St. John, Brian with a Y, thank God, has a whole YouTube channel just dedicated to talking shit about the girlfriend while his son's like on murder trial.
Oh.
And went so far as they had a Facebook group page, justice for whatever the baby's name was, right? And the whole town just like, like GoFundMe or whatever for the mom. And then the father, Brian St. John, made a fake justice for the baby Facebook page and just like talked about how the mother like smokes pot and shit.
This. And that's like their reality. Mm-hmm. That's like real. And then this is not a bit.
No, yeah, it was quite crazy. And I got thrown into it by
happenstance with the
name.
Cousin,
and I couldn't be happy
it's like,
about
I'm
it.
not.
It was like the most fun 3 weeks of my life.
Oh. Do you do that as a bit on stage?
No. I don't know how I can figure that out, right? It's a lot of details.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And it does.
And most people don't find Down syndrome and baby murder as funny as I do.
Yeah, I don't think so. So I'm glad that Brian's our guest today. So
it's your idea.
Yeah. So I'm glad Brian would agree to do this. Brian, so the whole podcast, it's about.
I had to expose myself.
Well, yeah. And like, what will you joke about? And what won't you joke about? And I think most people will not address those topics on stage because, again, that story was a little shocking to hear, and just the levels of just like what's going on.
I mean, if I wasn't brought into it.
Through the post.
Yeah, then it wouldn't
How
be funny,
random.
but it couldn't happen to a better guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if anything,
if you're gonna falsely accuse somebody of murder that doesn't know is not involved at all, like, should be me.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think that there is anyone else more appropriate for like all, and that's why again, it's like it does sound like a bit because Brian's comedy. Let's describe your comedy for the audience. Give me some vocabulary, descriptors, adjectives to describe Brian St. John's comedy.
Funny.
Okay.
Well thought out. I don't know. Like everyone, I don't think I'm like edgy. I don't think so. Like I don't say like any of the bad words really. I say bitch a lot. I say bitch too much on stage.
You don't think you're edgy?
Not really.
Really?
No.
Okay, then who's edgy or what's edgy for you? Like when
I think like edgy, like I don't know. It's like a dork trying to describe myself. Like edgy has a bad connotation to it. I think, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're just trying to shock value. You're just trying to be shocking for the sake of being shocking. Mm-hmm. Like I think I don't know. How would you describe it?
I feel edgy is just trying to push the boundaries of like what. Again, making jokes that most people wouldn't joke about, trying to find
Isn't
the
that
funny.
Comedy, though?
I don't know. I think comedy can be making people laugh in a very general way, in the fact that you're not eliciting not a lot of emotional responses. Like, think about farts. Farts are relatively innocuous. They don't really, like, you get the people who are like, oh, it's gross, don't talk about farts. But like, farts are not like trying to make jokes about what you were just talking about.
Okay, so
and you gotta admit, did you ever try to make a bit out of that, or did you ever bring it to the stage?
I don't think
story?
so.
Really?
No.
Never.
It's just too much explanation. It's like the first minute wouldn't be funny.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out.
Watching it record, you see it going too, so I'm not an idiot.
You're still an idiot.
You're an idiot. Smile. Hello. Hey.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. We're here today. We're here on a new episode of Comedians Exposed, and we are exposing Brian St. John.
Hello.
Brian, tell us where we're at today.
We're in my apartment in Jersey City.
Yes.
We've been here for the last 2 hours. We recorded a full podcast about a half hour ago. True. And then Deanna checked the time and realized it stopped recording 10 minutes in.
Okay, now I'm going to tell my version of events. Brian and I were having a really wonderful conversation before we decided to start recording for the podcast. And that's the story I'm sticking to.
If there's any audio production college students out there that want to intern for Deanna.
Oh, that would be helpful, yes. That's actually a great idea.
You need a 20-year-old dork in here.
I know, I need the technology. It's so complicated.
You got all the equipment. Like, I'm impressed by the equipment.
I'm impressed by the equipment too. I just have to learn. No, I don't know what I'm doing with it.
Which, like, nobody does. Yeah.
No, that's not true. 20-year-old interns, if you're out there and you want to intern for an exciting career opportunity, you want to expose people.
You want to learn.
Yeah, you want to learn the ins and outs of the intricacies of Comedians Exposed. I need you. But we have Brian St. John with us as our guest today, and we are going to expose him. We're in his crib in his house. I know, it's so weird.
I tried saying that unironically the other day, and I said I apologize after saying it. Like, I don't know why I called my apartment my crib.
I just remember.
I'm sorry I tried to do that.
MTV Cribs.
That's the thing. Like,
that's what I think of.
Like I could never get away with crib, even when that was like part of the vernacular, and now like Riz and bet and all these new terms.
What are those terms? I don't know.
Riz? All the Riz is like charisma, right? That's like kids like.
You've got Riz.
Yeah, if you're good at like talking to women, you got Riz. That's a new one.
That sounds like something you leave behind on a dress.
That sounds like evidence.
I don't like the hyphenating of everything, though.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. But I hanging out with too many younger people doing stand up, like. I try to throw it in once in a while, and then every time I'm like, I'm sorry, I tried to.
No, yeah.
Cool. I can't do it.
I did feel uncomfortable just saying crib now, but I do find it fun that I've had a chance to start doing the podcast in person. It started during the pandemic, and I was doing it through Zoom, and now that we're kind of, just living how we're living in the world, it's like super fun to come and sit down and talk, and it's really fun to be in people's homes and get intimate about comedy and expose all the dirty bits.
Have you seen that guy on like TikTok and stuff that just like goes like, how much you pay for rent in New York City, and he tours these like, it's always a hot girl. That guy has the best Riz scam.
Riz. Does he have Riz?
For sure.
Is that guy have
He's
Riz?
fucking all of those girls.
Do you have Riz?
No Riz. No Riz whatsoever.
I don't know. Well, okay, let everybody know, where can they find you on social media so they can determine themselves if you have Riz?
Yeah, my social media is no Riz on there. I'm like constantly deleting posts. Brian St. John sucks on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No Riz.
No Riz. He's got Riz.
I should start doing like the Andrew Tate, like Ben Shapiro thing.
Dude, that guy doesn't have Riz, but he pretends, or he can.
Yeah, that's a good hustle.
He can wear Riz. Like, I feel like he goes through the closet and he's like,
he can trick other Rizless people into thinking he has Riz.
Yes, because there's something.
Just leave a ocean of dead women's bodies in their wake.
Oh. His voice. There's something about his voice, I think, that gives away he doesn't have Riz.
Yeah, he's not American.
Well, no, not that he's not American.
You sound stupid.
I just feel like he just seems like I don't know, very like whiny, like
Yeah,
deep down, like.
I mean, that's the whole. That's all the content is just whining about how like I'm right and all women are wrong.
I know.
Yeah,
it's crazy. What's happening with them? Last I heard is that they were like
they're
arrested.
in jail, right?
Are they in jail?
I'm not too
invested. I thought you weren't you. What are they called? The taters.
People that. I was never
is that
tater.
Andrew Tate?
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I like that. If that's a thing, I'll get it. I'll get some merch.
Yeah, dude, don't fuck with the taters. He does have that like round head like a potato. Yeah. But anyway, who cares about that? We care about you, and we want to care about all the Riz. Your apartment definitely seems like you have Riz.
No, it doesn't. It's nicer than I should have, which I get, but like it's. It feels like a college dorm room in here.
No, it's
I'm missing like a sublime tapestry.
It's super trendy. Like right now, I've noticed like most apartments and like when they're advertising, the setup looks like this, like very minimal furniture, natural light, one plant. You're like,
2 fake ones, 3 fake ones.
My sanctuary.
Or the Christmas tree.
So tell us about your sanctuary. What do you need to escape from to come here to get into the realms of writing comedy?
I like this place. Mm-hmm. Like obviously, location's good if you live out here, but it's too big for me. Like I don't have enough stuff to fill this living room, and but I like it because like I don't like being here alone, and I live alone, so like it makes me go out more.
Oh.
Like, if I was too comfortable, I would just never do stand up ever again. I'd just play Madden all day because that's really what I want to do in life is just play video games by myself.
Really?
Yeah.
You could do that.
I could, but like,
why don't you?
Because I don't know, I get too in my head about it.
And you said you don't like being alone?
No, I hate being alone. I like being alone. I get home from work, my day job, and then I like being alone for an hour, and then I go insane.
Really? What makes you go insane about being alone?
I don't know, just boredom, and my kitchen faucet randomly will just drip. Mm-hmm. There's always at least one dish in there, so it's just Chinese water torture. It's like hitting up a puddle of water, and like I'm too lazy to get up and fix it. So like, I'm just listening to it drip all day, silent in here.
So what about then comedy? So does comedy help pull you out of that?
Yeah, it's the only
loneliness?
thing I do outside of work.
Yeah.
It's like, what else would I do?
I mean, I guess some people like being alone. I say alone. Like sitting alone in your house in solitude for some people is like
I need
ideal.
an hour to decompress after work. And then after that,
I think it's like a spectrum because I think I definitely need more like an hour. I think I need like probably, weekends and stuff. Yeah. Like locked in the house like by myself, just like nothing.
Once in a while it is nice.
Yeah.
Sure,
but it is nice to have comedy, especially too, like to go out and have like, okay, like you do have that built-in social network.
I don't know what like other people do.
Yeah. Yeah, like what non-comedians do.
Non-comedians that are also like in their 30s, losers living alone in Jersey City.
Is that how you see yourself, as a loser living alone in Jersey? Or are you living the dream? Like he's like the modern day male Mary Tyler Moore, you're gonna make it after all.
And Mary Tyler Moore was a lot more optimistic than I was.
That's why it's caught up. It's like, what century are we in? Are we in the 21st century?
21st, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Numbers
are interesting.
You know how I know that?
Because it used to be 20th Century Fox.
But wasn't that
now
like in the 1990s?
Yeah, it goes over one. Because Jesus had the first century.
We're getting complicated. We're getting complicated here. Oh my God. So Brian, the podcast, what we talk about, it's comedy. Does comedy make you feel vulnerable? What about the psychology of comedy? All this weird stuff. What about what you'll joke about? What about you won't joke about? How you feel about comedy? All those kind of fun things. So, like, already you started off talking about, like, again, you're lonely. Like, that's a motivator. Is that a motivator for you to continuously do comedy? Like, how much of it is comedy you wanting to do comedy because you love comedy, or how much of it percentage-wise? Is it you're like, I don't want to be here by myself. I want to go out and be social.
Yeah, I mean, that's like my whole social life, right? Which, that's one thing. But that's just developed over the last 7-8 years or whatever. Right?
Okay.
Because, like, it's what you do every night. It's bound to happen. But, yeah, like, I love the time I'm on stage. I love, but the hours leading up to it and then like, at the show waiting to go on, I hate all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's fun on stage, and then when you get off, if it went well, then it's fun.
Yeah.
But like the day of, especially like a bigger show, it's like just dreading, like just like having an obligation. I hate, I don't like being like having something. I want something to do, but I don't like that I have to be somewhere at a certain time.
Yeah.
Just like. pretty sad.
No, it's like you want the freedom of like whatever comes up that day you want to do. So.
Ideally, I'd be able to just walk into a place, not be booked, go on immediately, and then get free drinks.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's part of it, isn't it?
Life.
Well, but comedy, isn't that part of it? Because essentially, too, like, first off, what is comedy for you? What defines a comedian? Like, what are the things that make comedy exist?
I mean, you got to be a male, first of all.
True, right? That's what we say. I always hear that women aren't funny. I keep trying.
I'm just saying women are funny. They're just not comedians. Unless their boyfriend's a comedian,
then they're comedians too.
But I don't know.
Okay, no. So
if you do it, you're a comedian, right? Like
no, but
you're
like
not good. You're not necessarily a good comedian, but you have to do it. Yeah.
But essentially, you need obviously you need to have an audience. You know what I mean? So thinking about the obligation is part of the whole package because you have to say you're going to do comedy. Because you need the audience to be there. So it's like that agreement that, it's like a necessary part of it.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before about like ambush shows, right?
Right.
So like that's I do less of those now, thankfully. But still pop up once in a while. Like ambush show is there's a comedy show at like some bar, right? That you like on a Tuesday night, and normally on Tuesday night there are 5 regulars, and that bar is obviously failing, so they're hoping to drum up some business on a Tuesday night. But then you and your dumb comic friends show up, and it's still just the 5 regulars.
I don't know. I don't want to say because especially too, comedy is like so specific for every individual. Like, where are you in life? What do you look like? Your socioeconomic status. I think all of that makes a difference in like your life experience, and then it plays out. But you do see these like. There is more guys in comedy, so I'm curious.
It's like 80%. Right?
So it's like what I don't know, like what pushes so many guys into it and not so many women.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of most 90% of comedians are bad, right?
Yeah.
So that's male and female. So maybe it is attention seeking at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
No one's just focused on I want to be the top clown in the world. I want attention. That's why everyone does it, right? So there's more outlets for women to get attention, right? Probably, especially with social media and stuff. I think maybe I'm wrong about that. But I think so. And most of the people on either side, within the 2 million comedians out there right now that are just bothering people at open mics and stuff, none of them really deserve attention anyway.
Right.
So it's I don't know.
It's a specific type of attention though, because you think about like Instagram models, right, that are getting attention. Like, okay, that's fine. You can get attention for being physically beautiful and having your booty out. But is that the kind of attention that comedians are seeking? Because I think, again, I'm not going on. That's one of my areas of where I'm most uncomfortable is I don't want people judging my middle-aged body. Mind your business, okay? I make really good banana bread. So I feel like for me, it pushes me. I want to say the shit that makes me feel.
But if there's open mics for Rachel Ray and making banana bread on a daytime talk show, you'd be all over that.
No, because I don't like Rachel Ray. Cause she's one of the people that abbreviates everything. Just like what was that? Charisma, yeah, EVOO,
What is that?
Extra virgin olive oil. Get a little EVOO. It's I feel like it started with her because now everybody abbreviates things like the taters with the Riz.
You think Rachel Ray started that?
No.
I don't think Rachel Ray's ever started anything.
I'm sure she did. She's got to have started something. Maybe a panic to get to Trader Joe's to get a certain ingredient or something. I don't know. But regardless, so comedy, thinking about for me, that's an area I'm uncomfortable with. But what about for you? What are something you're uncomfortable with?
In comedy?
Yeah.
Putting myself out there as somebody who's trying to make a career out of it.
Yeah.
By posting clips and shit every day. I don't do any of that. And you have to, right? We were talking about before, I'm at a point where I'm all right, I can either probably lose my job and go all in, and do all the things. But also, I don't know, there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. Like people are like slaves to the algorithm nowadays, right? Like, and I don't like trying to appease the algorithm to accept me into like, you know.
I don't.
But also like, that translates into a lot of money and getting to do what you like doing for a living every night, right? So like that's cool, but like I have to put out shitty crowd work clips every day.
And
a lot of these crowd work clips are like embarrassingly bad.
I know.
And they get 50,000 likes, right? So it works, but like
maybe it's like
selling out to a math equation.
It is that. I find that to be very uncomfortable, putting comedy clips online, especially because, like, I feel like your jokes always evolve. Like, you know, I don't think I've ever really...
It's like nobody's putting out jokes. They're just putting out, like, what do you do for a living?
Oh, yeah, the chitty chats with the audience. Just
That's your boyfriend? Oh, what's he doing in the bathroom?
I'm like, oh, my God. I don't know.
Doing coke or taking a shit?
But how come you don't do that, then? Why don't you do that?
Because it's embarrassing.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I also, I'm uncomfortable putting myself out there, like as someone who's like everyone knows the formula now, right? Like that's the last 2-3 years. That's the formula to success, right? We've all seen it, and like it works for some people, but we also all see 1,000 people doing a shitty job at it, right? And we all know what you're doing, and none of us appreciate it, and we all make fun of you behind your back.
So what is their alternative then? If they're doing a shitty job.
There is no alternative.
So I guess it boils down to
I always just wanted to
be.
I always just wanted everyone to think I'm good. If they don't like me, if they do, I don't care. But like everyone's like, no one says I'm a shitty comic, right?
But that's so hard.
But that doesn't translate into a career or money.
You don't think there's people out there that are saying simultaneously you're good, and then someone else is simultaneously saying you're shitty?
No, people tell me I'm shitty all the time, but like I'm saying people that I care about and respect.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
But that's also hard too. I think.
At the bar a few weeks ago, I just said like excuse me, I was trying to get in, and she goes, I know who you are, you piece of shit. And I'm like, what?
Whoa.
And she called Brian St. John. I call him, I'm like what did I do to you, or when I didn't know you? And she called me, that's exactly what she said. You're that piece of shit comedian that hates women. And we all just started dying laughing.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, I don't hate women, but yeah, you might have a point. If I said something about you, I'm sorry. And she just walked off. I was like, that's honestly pretty cool.
Wow, it's interesting to see, because it was a very strong emotional reaction that you elicited in her. And it's like always fun to think about, because especially like triggers are important information for us. Like if something's triggering us, it's like, well, why? So I'd be really curious to be like, what about you was so triggering for her that this whole thing had to play out?
I wanted to be like, what did I say, and like what happened to you? Because I can't like, I'm sure like people like roll their eyes and shit I say, but like most of the people are laughing, right? But so fine, if you don't, if I'm not for you, no problem, sorry, but you're not getting your money back. But like the fact that like there's like at a bar that we didn't have a show at, and she saw me, and like if I saw a comedian I didn't like outside of the show, I wouldn't say like unless they like, you know, like deeply offended me or a family member, you know, like, I wouldn't be like, hey, I have to let you know that I think you're a fucking piece of shit.
But even, okay, so hypothetically, though, so even if you did that, say they did really offend you, like this to me isn't that a person you wouldn't want in your space? So why are you going to then engage with that?
Striking up conversation.
Like, are you trying to like win them over or like gain, like, again, because if they apologize to you, does it mean anything?
She wasn't trying to like make me better or anything.
She just wanted to let you know that she thought you were a piece of shit.
Which
like
okay. And then me and like 5 other comics all start like dying laughing, and I doubt that felt good.
Yeah. So do you hate women, Brian St. John?
No. Her, yeah.
That was actually that was the thing. Chris Rock, when he put out. Did you watch that special?
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I liked it.
Yeah.
The live, I didn't watch it live, but like it being live then on Netflix was like very ballsy. I appreciate it, but like definitely like felt less clean than other specials, which is like, you know, kind of cool in a way, but like the first 10 minutes were all just like cancel culture stuff. Yeah. Every Netflix special the last 2 years is the same exact formula. It's infuriating.
I wish we would stop using the word cancel culture though. Like I'm so like nobody, like nothing's happening. Like you just stop.
Everyone that gets canceled in comedy does way better than next year.
That's why they're
Everyone
not canceled.
wants to get canceled.
They're not. Well, yeah, it's because it's like I feel like it goes back to like I'm saying the most provocative thing because it's like it's that juxtaposition like we're in the quote unquote wokest time ever while and I think that's a lot of the pushback at like comics today because there isn't anyone who's been canceled.
Yeah.
Like
Kramer got it pretty bad.
But honestly, I think
he's still getting royalty checks from Seinfeld. But.
Yeah, he's exactly. But I think that's where his bread was buttered, and that was essentially because I think he kind of became a TV persona, which overshadowed his comedy. You know what I mean? Like Jerry Seinfeld's still doing comedy, but it's like, oh, it's still Jerry Seinfeld. It's still the same shit you were doing on your show, kind of thing. So it was like. Kramer, had an identity outside of Kramer, but Kramer became who he is. Yeah. So it was like
if you went to see him after the show, you'd want to see Kramer on stage, not Michael.
Right? Yeah, you would exactly. Like
it was probably pretty boring compared to Kramer.
Right. So I don't think even he.
Well, apparently not.
He was to me I don't think at the same level of fame as a comedian some other comics who have been quote unquote look at Louis and all that crap like that. But what about too going back to Chris Rock because again. There was a lot of flack he got about going back at Jada and yada yada. Because I feel like
he didn't get any real. Everyone was on his side for the most part.
I feel like
fake articles that
there
were
some articles. I feel like there was enough
maybe
articles.
A few other bald women agreed with it.
But. I don't know, but but it's like the thing of it's like should things be off limits to joke about?
Yeah, I mean, there's a time and a place for everything, right? I don't know what I said to make that girl. Come up to me at a bar and tell me I'm a piece of shit that hates women. Yeah. I don't. If the whole room felt that way, if I was telling some joke that the whole room just got mad at, I would. I'm not doing my job, right? So I'm sure she got more mad that everybody in the room besides her was laughing at the joke, and that's what made her mad. Yeah. That's usually the case in these scenarios, right? So that's the little flack you're getting, it's the same as Twitter. People get canceled. It's 10 tweets to a company saying to fire you, right? The company will bow down and you freak out. But there's a million people that liked it, Yeah. But they just don't tweet because you like something, you don't tweet about it. Because it's a stupid thing to do.
Yeah, Twitter's terrible.
Twitter's a cesspool.
It is a cesspool. It's almost as bad as Reddit. So.
No, Reddit's way better than Twitter. Reddit's informative.
I guess so. I don't really I try to avoid as much of the internet as possible.
Reddit comments are nonsense.
I just feel like
Reddit posts are good.
I don't know. I feel like people are probably getting too much incorrect medical advice on Reddit. And how long? What got you into comedy?
Depression.
Yeah.
I always wanted to do it, right? I feel like that's normal, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't know that you can do it, right? Mm-hmm. And then hit absolute rock bottom in my life. What I thought was rock bottom at the time, at least. And then I was there's nothing stopping me from humiliating myself in public into a microphone every day.
Yeah.
How did you do you remember when you found out that you can just do open mics? Because I always loved comedy. I always wanted to do it in my head, but I didn't think that was a thing you could just do. And then I found out that there's just places all around me that just have comedy open mics. Yeah. And there's a normal thing for mentally ill people to do on a daily basis.
So is that what you did? You went to an open mic for the first time?
Yeah, I went to the Creek in the Cave.
The Creek in the Cave?
Yeah, in Long City, yeah.
No, I was the opposite. I took comedy classes.
You did?
Yes. I did.
Where?
I took 2 at the Comedy Cove. And
who was the teacher?
Chip's so nice. Chip Ambrose. It was so fun. I had such a fun time. Don't let Brian's evilness.
Chips Cooney?
No, not Chips Cooney. Chip Ambrosio.
I don't know Chip Ambrosio.
Yeah, Chips Cooney. Oh my gosh. Chips. They were fun though. I want to take another comedy class. I love it.
Yeah, you probably should.
I couldn't actually. I took multiple comedy classes and still couldn't go to an open mic.
Really?
Yes. It took me years.
How does a comedy class work? That's fascinating.
It's basically like a little mini open mic that everyone goes to every week and everyone agrees they're going to go to, and you just do that. And everyone.
It's like an AA meeting for.
Yeah, basically.
Dorks.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so crazy. I remember the first one I took, there was only 6 of us, and I so remember vividly. The second one was at Gotham.
What was the demographic for the 6 people? It's got to be like a
we were,
couple of
I was
like
the
divorced
youngest.
old men. And,
yeah, I think there was at least 2 divorced old men, maybe 3. And then there was a lady who was married, another lady. Yeah. So
like an 18-year-old sucker.
No, I was the youngest one in that group. So, and I was old. Like, I was not young when I did it. I was like probably in my 30s.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, not old, but like not like, you know what I mean? Because you
Nah,
see,
comedy,
I see
comedy
these,
class old is
well, you see
70.
Yeah, I guess so. But you see open mics, like I get so annoyed. Like I see these little 18-year-olds, and I'm like, holy fuck.
I get jealous of them. I started when I was like 25, and that's like late to start.
Yeah, that's not late. I feel like that even, like I would have loved to have started at 25, but I'm like, I
Like
did not.
You started
have...
18. Like you had 7 years before I started.
What do you think that they had that we didn't? That they started at 18 and we were.
I think I had a dad, and they didn't. So
they have daddy issues.
They had nothing to lose.
Let me cry into
I think about this a lot. Like, I have a great relationship with my parents. Like, I'm like one of the few comics who like I know whose parents are together and like have a good marriage, right?
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense if you know me, but whatever.
Right.
But like if when my dad dies, I'll be very sad. It'll be tragic, but I'll be free
to say whatever you want.
To do whatever I want.
You can bring shame to the St.
exactly.
John name.
I can truly like just.
Oh, that shows you have a moral compass then.
I'm just scared of my parents.
Yeah. So wait, I want to go back. You said that you started comedy at the worst time of your life where you thought was rock bottom. What was going on?
It's just 25. I dropped out of college after a year. I got arrested a bunch of times. I was delivering pizzas, working off the books, living at my parents' house. Mm-hmm. Like all my friends are now graduating college, like getting engaged and married. A couple of them are like having kids already.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have absolutely nothing going on, and like I remember like being on like Instagram or Facebook and just like feeling embarrassed, like which like I think is like a common thing with like young people, right? Like because everyone like puts their best self out there on the internet.
Right.
I was probably falling for that a little bit too, because like now they're all divorced and the kids are dead, but I just like had absolutely nothing going on. I was like, and like, the thing, like if you wanted to do comedy, you're feeling that for a while. Like the thing stopping you is like it's so embarrassing because like you're not gonna be good, No. Like and nowadays to do comedy, you have to do it very publicly on social media, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to be like, promoting your shitty show, right? Which is so fucking. Then people show up.
Yeah.
People from high school show up. Family members just show up if you're in the area, and you're really bad. and then they tell everybody
you're really bad. Yeah.
Like, I saw Brian. He's horrifyingly bad at comedy.
Yeah.
It's all he talks about.
But I think you said like yourself, you have to be really bad at the beginning. I always tell my friends, like when they first started to come to see me, I was like, okay, y'all like baseball, right? Think about Little League. Like I'm in Little League right now. But
imagine being an adult and be like, come to my Little League game.
It's hard. And that's part of the vulnerability of it is like, being willing enough to kind of open yourself up to like that embarrassment.
But yeah, like I'm fine doing that in front of strangers, but like when you first start out, like you're trying to get like on shows, and you the best way to do it is to promote it, but not actually like encourage anybody that to come because you don't want them there, right? Yeah. But you look like you're trying, just endearing to the idiot booker that booked you.
Well, you should. Right? That's part of the game, right?
It is when you first start out, right?
Yeah.
And if you're brand new and someone books you, they're hoping you bring 10 people. I call them bringer pigs, Like you book a new comic as a bringer pig. They don't know they're the bringer pig, but they bring 10 people. And you get $100. So like, do that, but then like people just like show up,
Yeah.
Like cousins of mine just showing up at shows. I'm like, oh.
How do you feel performing in front of people like your cousins? And
like nowadays it's fine, but like
in the beginning,
it's horrifying. I remember my brother and sister-in-law.
Yeah.
They were living in Queens at the time, and they just showed up at the Creek one night. Do you remember the Creek in the Cave? Like,
yes.
So like it was just open mics in the basement every day.
Yeah.
So like at 6 p.m., 8 p.m., and 11 o'clock mic. I would take the bus from fucking Central Jersey there and meet up with my friend from Long Island. And we'd do the 6 o'clock, and by the 8 o'clock, we're kind of drunk. At the 11 p.m., we're blacked out. We're just hanging out in this dive bar basement, just open mics all night. And then my brother and sister-in-law just show up. And the Creek in the Cave is like I love the place. Like very very endearing to just like new comics.
Right.
But like it's a hellhole for a normal person. Like, it's an insane asylum. There's always a woman wearing like headphones with an antenna.
Oh my
and
gosh.
she's listening to like FM radio on in
Yeah.
the basement, like front row, and there's like 3 other people in the room.
Yeah.
And then there's and then I just go up for 2 minutes and just bomb in front of 3 people and my brother and sister-in-law.
Aw,
Like,
that's so nice. They would support you though, huh?
No, it's not. They just showed up. It's awful.
They ambushed
And
you
I-
at your
and-
show.
It's not a show. It was an open mic.
Open
it was
mic,
the third
yeah.
mic in the same basement that day that I had done. And they show up and they're like, oh, like I think they were more checking on me, right?
Yeah.
And then what they saw was far more horrifying than what they thought it was.
Oh.
And I was like, don't ever come again.
Oh my. So I always ask this too, like, because you describe, the Creaking in the Cave as being, a freak show, for like people who aren't comedians, but is a wonderful place for new comics. So did that make you think that there's a certain type of personality that's drawn to comedy?
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple different types of unique personalities.
Okay, so what are your breakdowns of the personalities?
One is, person that, there's the people that start when they're 18, right?
Yeah.
Which I'm jealous of. Like, that, like, knew what they wanted and went for it right away the second they got the chance.
Yeah.
I wish I did that. There's guys like me who, like, wanted to do it and were, feigning, having like a normal structured life, had every opportunity given to them growing up and just squandered all that and decided to start doing stand-up. And then there's the violent psychopaths that we run into, which
Yes.
tend to overcome everybody else.
Well, I think
in
that
the vibe of
the
somebody's
violent
room.
psychopath, yeah, they really do get people. They do change the kind of tone and energy. Oh boy, there is quite a few of them.
Yeah, and two once 2 of them are in the room, like on opposite sides, and these like just like open mics were just like 10, 20 other idiot comics and
Yeah.
no actual people. I always feel bad for the people, like, because like we especially during the pandemic, we do these like open mics that are all just comics or
Right.
whoever shows up, but like everyone's going up, and then a couple just shows up thinking they're going to be entertained. And like that's got to be a horrifying experience.
Do you think they understand too? Because especially too, open mics are those workshops where you're gonna just, work through whatever you need to work through. Like some new comics, they're just working on standing on being on stage, not joke writing. And then there's people who are like, oh, let me share the embarrassing shit, like just everybody's trying to get to the end, the joke itself.
Yeah.
So it's like, I wonder how much audiences expect like at open mics if you're just popping in. Like, do you think that people get that like as part of
think
comedy? Like
some of them do, but I think some of them like leave like, oh, I didn't think. I was expecting like to like go in with that attitude of like, all right, yeah, like, this isn't like a professional show. I should go with low expectations, but like you still leave scared.
Yeah.
Some of the time, like, some of those rooms are like.
I think I leave scared. Yeah, a lot of times.
I felt
like,
scared. Things that like I don't feel good about enjoying, but the psycho, or not even psycho, the eccentric guy.
Yeah.
Like recognizes that I will enjoy it, and I do.
Yeah.
I did some like I don't remember what the joke was. I tried it. I got a mic like twice. That Gabby Petito when that was happening.
Okay.
That's the girl that lived in the
Yes,
van.
yes.
They're beating each other up, and then they found her, right? And some dumb joke about it. And did it twice. Obviously didn't work.
Right.
Stopped doing it.
Yeah.
And this one dude who I like, but he's a little nutty. He sent me her boyfriend's name was Brian Landry. Landry or something.
Yeah.
And he sent me a Reddit called Friends of Brian, which like my name's Brian. I like that already. And it's all just dudes. Like none of them meant it. It was like a troll thing.
Yeah.
But they were just claiming that Brian was innocent, and their reasoning to that was that his girlfriend realized she had gained weight and then threw herself off the cliff.
Oh, no.
And like that Reddit made the news because like they're like these people are like, and they're all kidding and like all so happy that it made the news.
Well,
so he sent me that and I was like, this is great. Send me more of this, and now it's just 200.
Oh my god!
And I'm like, I'm not gonna like some of this, but I'm not gonna open it.
It goes back to the internet being like such a crazy place because it's like, okay, that kind of stuff people do laugh at. Like everybody has all types of senses of humor, and like some people, do like the dark. They like. I always think about it as like colors, right? You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't like the same color of the rainbow, and some people like really dark humor. But it's something bizarre when it becomes like part of like the zeitgeist in terms of like, okay, now it's like part of our news cycle. And
when the news isn't just the tragic death and murder of this couple, and it becomes like, no, these people making fun of it, that's the real victim or the real villain here.
Do you think it goes back to the idea of comedy used as a coping mechanism of like, because again,
I don't think those people are coping or anything. I think they're just trolling.
They're just trolls.
Like there's a fine line between
but why would they troll?
Trolling.
That's the question. Why are you choosing
they're
that to troll
They're coping
for?
with the fact that they are frustrated with women, right?
Oh, the whole incel culture kind of thing. Those
yeah,
people.
but like also like they're frustrated with like they are incels, right? They are involuntarily celibate, right? At its core, but like I think a lot of those dudes would be happy to be in like even somewhat normal relationship and have someone to connect with, but I think that they affiliate women with the type of girl who like lives in a van and like has a van vlog, right? And then also beats the shit out of her boyfriend, and he beats the shit out of her behind the scenes, and then she gets thrown off a cliff, and they're like, haha.
Oh my god! What do you think?
But then also the boyfriend killed himself, so like, he's that guy too. So maybe there probably is a little like coping with
I just feel like this.
Like,
it's sad to hear this shit. I'm just hoping that these trolls are like, I don't know, like
I think it's mostly kids. I think it's mostly
kids being provocative.
Younger,
yeah, and I feel like because especially you think about young comics when they're coming on the scene on like 18 and 19. Like very rarely do you ever hear an 18-year-old comic out the gate like as brilliant, and they're writing brilliant stuff. It's like
and they don't have perspective.
They don't have perspective, and it's like 9 times out of 10 I find like they're doing that provocative humor. Like I feel like everybody, you know what I mean? It's like edgy. It's just kind of like, oh, I would do it for shock value, and I say things for shock value. So I feel like, those people who are trolling on Reddit and saying those things are just kind of like not laughing at the situation, but the provocative nature of what they're eliciting in people.
And then once they get on the news once, that's fuel to do that forever.
Yes.
Like they've entered the real world from their fake world.
But I wanted to talk about too, like, because like again, I mean that to me is like again just people like, because we could really dive into their psychology, and it's like, well, what are you like? What's the psychology of a troll? But I don't really. I
think a troll is just frustrated, usually a dude. Women do it too.
Yeah.
But usually a dude that just desperately he's upset, but being a dude and admitting you're upset or like frustrated or something is kind of looked down upon, especially publicly, right?
Yeah.
And then judged, and then they just need a creative outlet. So they choose the lowest denominator because that gets the most attention.
And it's also anonymous. It's super easy to say that stuff without worrying that someone's going to punch you in the effing face.
Yeah.
It's like
just like your mom will find out.
Yeah, exactly, right? The disappointment, the shame to the St. John family when they find out all the comments you're putting on Reddit. But you talked about.
I don't comment on Reddit. I want that to be clear. The last time my mom saw me do stand-up comedy, they saw me once years ago. That was the first time they saw me, and it went well. So don't ever come again. Right?
Yeah.
I don't need this pressure. And then at a show in Keensburg, like last year, and it was like a bar show. It was going to sell out. It was like a good show, but Keensburg, if you don't know, is the trashiest of short towns in Jersey, right?
Keensburg, we love you. Don't listen to St. John.
I don't. But they had a water park there, like on the boardwalk. And when I was a kid, I remember going to the water park, and there was a pack of stray dogs inside the fence of the water park, just running around.
Oh my god!
It's the trashiest place on earth. So do the show. The show was fun, but like my parents, like the day before, they're like, "Oh, we bought tickets." And I'm like, because they saw it on like Facebook, and like they live like 20 minutes away. I was like, first of all, like don't ever just like I'm never gonna invite you, but like, don't do that. And second of all, like, this show is the one you're coming. Like, it's gonna be great audience, but like also white trash. So like, to do well there, I'm gonna have to, pull out the.
You're gonna.
Yeah, I'm gonna be gross. Yeah, and then now that they're coming, like,
Yeah.
I have to kill because when I was 5, maybe like 4 or 5, I had a goldfish. And, it died, and then I remember my brother was upset. I was upset, but I didn't cry. And then my dad that night like heard me whimpering in my bedroom, and he came in. He's like, "What's wrong?" And I started bawling, and I went, "He was my best friend." And my dad still brings that up to this day to make fun of me. So like, which fair,
Yeah.
I would do the same. But like, if I bomb in front of my dad, he's gonna bring it up on his deathbed.
Yeah,
yeah, that's how
true.
So now I have to like be I had a good set, but I was a disgusting pig the whole time. And then my mom, when they were leaving, she goes, "You did great," but she goes with tears in her eyes, "But you're still my son." It's like, don't come to these fucking shows. This is your fault.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's hard to do, like, again, comedy in front of our family because,
Who wants to do that?
My dad and my mother came to like one of the first shows that I did.
That's
it was stupid. It was like a bringer show at Broadway. And I was like, okay, let me try to do this. And I brought people, and I didn't realize again what a terrible idea it was. And like my parents were sat like right in the front row, and my mother wore a hat.
If you could see them too.
You could see them right in the front. They got roasted by every comic the
they're
entire
one of the 3
night.
people you can see in a club.
Yeah, and then it was like, I remember having like this joke about like Cookie Monster and like eating pussy or something. My dad was just so pissed at the end. He was like he was like, "I don't think you're my daughter." But I think it's important though, like, especially because again, it's showing all parts of it, like, because we are who we are, you know what I mean? And like comedy is like you're tapping into, like you said, the embarrassing parts. I wanted to go back though. You talked about for like a second about how, especially because a lot of the trolls you think are men, right? Because they can't talk about all the shit that's bothering them, so that manifests in unhealthy ways. And talk about the comedy scene, because it does have a lot of dudes. So do you think that's why there's more dudes in comedy? Is because it gives them a chance to talk about, like, you yourself said you got started in what you felt was the lowest point where shit was falling apart. So do you think that what draws more men to comedy?
Yeah, I mean, comedy is mostly just attention seeking, right? So
Yeah.
women, it's a lot easier to get attention, probably, right? Like the women that do it are way funnier than the guys at the same level of them, right? Like, I feel like women either, I mean, that's not true for everybody, but like a year in, women that do it consistently are funnier than their counterparts as men, right? Because like, it's starting out is in a lot of ways, so like a lot more. You're getting followed to your car.
Oh, that's,
shit like that by creepy,
it's like, okay,
schizophrenic open micers. Like,
do I want to go back and maybe get murdered?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, it's like, yeah. I mean, there's more dudes too, just because it's you I don't know, like dudes feel like they can get away with a lot more than the women. Yeah. For the most part.
I don't know. It's weird. Like, because especially too, like with doing comedy, like I don't generally like to ask questions like that about like, because I feel like comedy is comedy, but sometimes, as a lady comic, you hear like, oh, women aren't funny and yada yada, and then I hear like again from a lot of comics like, oh, that women aren't drawn to comedy. So it was just because I've heard that a lot. Do you
think that women audience members enjoy women comics more than they enjoy dude comics? Because I find it to be the opposite.
I think
women don't they don't support women.
If there's women there with their boyfriends, I do find
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like if it's like a
bachelorette party does not want to hear a girl comic.
They're there for the bachelorette party. They're there to like
they want
get
to be
drunk and be like, look at us. Yeah, we're here.
They want people to talk to them.
Yeah, because they want they want jokes made, but they're thinking like, yeah, it's the end of your life. Yeah, you're not going to get any more good. You take forever. Okay, guys, I just want to say it's been so much fun having Brian St. John today. Thank you so much. Thank you. He's been such a good sport. We had too many technical difficulties.
I've aged 5 years.
But we've survived. We bonded. It was really such a good conversation. Brian, do me a favor. Let everybody know again about your shows and where they can find you on social media.
Nucky's in Jersey City, the second Thursday every month. And social media, Brian St. John Sucks on Instagram. And if you're mentally ill, add me on Facebook.
Oh my God, that was so long ago. Wow, we're circled back.
Even if that doesn't make the podcast, do it anyway.
Yeah.
If you're mentally ill, add me on Facebook.
Well,
I'll like all your stuff.
Yes, and you, everybody, I hope you like, share, and subscribe to Comedians Exposed. Thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you again to Brian for being a guest.